All right, let's move on to another team here. Let's talk about the Chargers. This time we're talking about Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler, running back for the Chargers, likes Chargers' new offense. Quote, I'm betting on myself to go out there and make plays, and I am a believer in Austin Eckler, folks. I know not everybody's big on him, and, they're like, hey, Austin Eckler, who the heck is that? I'm a believer in him, folks. So let's just talk about what he did last season. Last season, he was the number one running back. Unfortunately, missed about 6 games in the middle of the season with a hamstring injury. Never great. But in 2019, when he was behind Melvin Gordon, he had 500 yards, and, that was really it. 8 games starting, 500 yards, and that's really kind of where he maxed out because he was always the number 2 running back up until last season, where he became number 1, but he was injured for 6 games. But in 10 games starting, 500 yards rushing, but also 400 yards receiving. So he kind of broke that 1,000-yard threshold that we want to see kind of everybody have. Wide receivers, tight ends, running backs. If you're not putting up 1,000 yards between rushing and receiving, it's unfortunately not making that much of an impact out there. So, Austin Eckler, 530 yards rushing. He was averaging 50 yards a game as well. So if we extrapolate that for the 6 games that he missed, we can add an extra 300 yards. And that's going to be 800 yards just in rushing with 400 yards receiving. So once again, he was averaging 40 yards a game receiving. So you kind of extrapolate that. And now we're looking at about, 800 yards rushing. And about 650 yards receiving. So once again, well over combined rushing and receiving over that 1,000-yard mark. And that's exactly what we were looking for. I mean, he's averaging 4.6 yards a rush. That's absolutely fantastic. Anything more than 3 is truly great. Really, I think 3.3 is kind of the average. So whatever's above that is obviously absolutely great. So I really believe in Austin Eckler that he can get the job done. He did miss 6 games last season, folks. So a little underwhelming in his stats just because of that alone. But now we're back this year. And the one good thing is that his injury didn't come at the end of the year. It came at the middle of the year, and he was still kind of getting it done in the back half after the injury. So we can believe that he's really just going to pick up exactly where he left off at the start of the season. So we don't have to kind of, all right, he got injured at the end of the year. He's still rehabbing. Maybe games 1, 2, 3, 4 aren't the greatest. He really hits his stride game 5. No. He's already ready to go. He's ready to rock. Week 1, he's going to be on his bullshit. So let's go in the article right here and see what we're getting by Austin Eckler and what he's saying. So here we go. Now healthy and entering a new offense under coordinator Joe Lombardi, Eckler told Sirius XM NFL Radio he views himself as a chess piece in the offense. He views himself as a chess piece the offensive coordinator can use, similar to how the Saints get the ball to Alvin Kamara. Okay, so he's already comparing himself to kind of Alvin Kamara. So let's get his stats up just to kind of see what he's kind of realistically thinking for himself this year. Alvin Kamara last year, 930 yards rushing and 756 yards receiving. So once again, that was kind of what Austin Eckler could have done if he did not miss 6 games. And Alvin Kamara missed a game, and he only started 10 out of the 15 that he played. So, Austin Eckler kind of right up there with Alvin Kamara if he didn't get injured. But here we go, back to the article and the quote. I think that's something that I've learned about Joe coming in. Like, this man is going to get his playmakers in space in situations where they can be successful. And I freaking love that. Playing to the strengths of your players, not making a scheme and trying to fit the players in your scheme. Adam Gase 100% does that. Hey, I have the scheme, and if you don't fit in the scheme, I'm not changing the scheme. So you're not going to be good out there, and I'm not going to take any responsibility because this is my scheme. It's proven to work. Didn't you know I coached Peyton Manning? Stop it, please. That entire narrative is bunk. All right, but, Joe Lombardi here. Hey, I'm going to get my players the ball, and I'm going to work to their strengths to get them the ball in my system. Freaking love it. So already a check here for the Chargers, Joe Lombardi, Austin Eckler. We can buy this team, and we already know Justin Herbert's the man, folks. So truly watch out for this Chargers team, but let's keep going to this article. Quote, I think you see that as far as the running back position with Kamara with the Saints. They would give him the ball any way they could, and he was making plays. And it just depends on me, right? as far as, hey, if coach is going to trust me with the ball, my hands are going to make sure I make it work, make him right. If I don't do that, we got a lot of other talent on the team. So I like it because it's putting the pressure on me. I love that because now I'm betting on myself to go out there and make plays. I have no doubt about that. So, hey, Joe Lombardi's going to put Austin Eckler in the position to be successful, and all Austin Eckler has to do is do it. I'm about it. I'm already about Austin Eckler. This was last year. I was about Austin Eckler. And now this year, everything's really kind of coming up Millhouse for the man. Let's see. Let's go to the Chargers depth chart very quickly because he did say that there is a lot of talent around him in that quote. So, if I'm not getting it done, they're just going to bring the next man up. But I don't think they are that deep at the running back position. So we got Austin Eckler number 1, and then we have Justin Jackson number 2. Once again, nothing great there. He had 270 yards rushing. He was the 2018 7th round pick, folks. I mean, once again, nothing that great. So maybe Austin Eckler being a little humble there. Oh my God, we got great guys behind me, and if I don't get it done, they'll just replace me. I don't really think they're replacing you, even if you're really not getting it done out there. But I don't even think we have to think about that because we truly believe in Austin Eckler. He's believing in himself. The offense is going to kind of revolve about all the playmakers getting it done. And we know they got a lot of playmakers. At the wide receiver position, they got Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and then at the tight end position, they got Jared Cook. So they got real great talent all over the field. And that's once again going to open up Austin Eckler because we're going to be guarding these receivers and tight ends. And then if Austin Eckler is kind of getting it done in the running game, that's going to open up the wide receivers. And if everything is going to plan, you're going to be play actioning with Austin Eckler and then throwing it right back to him and then running it with him and then throwing it to your wide receivers and then once again a play action. And now the defense is like, what the fuck do we do? We've been trying everything. Nothing's working. They're picking us apart. We should have studied a little harder out here. So watch out for the Chargers. New kind of offensive coordinator out here. Joe Lombardi using all of his weapons to their specific skill sets. And Austin Eckler is kind of comparing himself to Alvin Kamara. And we know Alvin Kamara and Christian McCaffrey are these kind of dual threat running backs that will go out and run for 1,000 yards and go out and catch like 700 yards receiving as well. So if Austin Eckler can live up to that standard, maybe we could start putting Austin Eckler into that category. So far, it's just Alvin Kamara and really just Christian McCaffrey that have proven it time and year after year after year that they can be that dual threat running back. That's really it. That's really the only two. So we'll see if Austin Eckler emerges, and then maybe we can put him into that category during the NFL season.